Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a blessed morning. I am having a blessed morning, and I am back with a good one. Um, you know how I do. I just keep going. I don't stop. I got so many topics. This topic you probably heard before, but you probably heard on a different platform, and um, but this topic is going to be a little different. When prime real estate was at its all-time highs in the 80s and 90s. And you probably saying, what are you talking about? When was prime real estate at its all-time high in the 80s and 90s? It was. Land was up for sale back then. Land was a war zone. Back then, if you look through all of, especially in the United States, especially in New York, it looked like a war zone. It looked like a third world country. It looked like it was plagued and hit with so many chemical bombs and so many electrical bombs. Back then, pavement was brick. I remember pavement was brick. It was stone back then, and a lot of these things was going on back then. It was a lot of poverty. It was a lot of pain. It was a lot of suffering. Job market was very low, and prime real estate was at an all-time high if you had a vision at that time. And the vision that I'm talking about, you're seeing wasteland. You're seeing things that potentially can't grow. It can't grow there. You're looking at it like, hold on, this stuff is not growing there. How is these individuals are living under these conditions, living in abandoned buildings, living next to dumpsters and trash cans with heat? People was staying bundled up, staying together just for seeking heat to live for the next day. What was going on? How were these people living in this condition? And all around these individuals was prime real estate, buildings and wastelands and lots that just was open. Nothing was growing there. Just a few grass, just a few things was growing there. But in this very, very soil, in this very, very places in our community and society, things was growing there and things was cooking. What was cooking was crack and base, was to control these neighborhoods, was to get these individuals out of this prime real estate. It was to deter and cause confusion and darkness upon individuals that was living there in the prime living state of individuals that had a vision of the future, of technology, of the digital world as we know it today. Individual was very, very, back then, individual was very, very slick. As you look and see the progress as individuals came about now, you see that a lot of things was a plot and plan in order to bring forth the digital world, in order forth to bring vision. And I'm talking about vision, voice connection, thumb connection, eye connection, mind connection, just to open up doors and windows into cars and all these other things that individuals that had a vision. So individuals had to produce and procreate, right, a vision of chaos and confusion of drugs and alcohol, base, cocaine, dope, was flooded in the 80s and 90s for an individual that had vision and thought of prime real estate. The things that I'm talking about is not far-fetched for you, you know? And after conquering this thought and after conjugating up this thought of understanding of prime real estate, you have to create a narrative and bring in certain individuals that also had a vision of thought and understanding in creating buildings and homes for the future. So other people in other civilization can rise up and keep these individuals dumb, deaf, and blind. This is why prime real estate was at an all-time high, because when they brought the drugs in the 80s and 90s, it really was prime real estate. If you had the best coke and the best dope, you had prime real estate of this block. and of this community. You had a stronghold. And this is what these individuals didn't see at the time. They was shooting, they was killing, and they was plaguing the community with drugs and alcohol and all these other things that was going on with a whole bunch of Nino Browns that was leading the force of prime real estate. But the bigger picture was to control these neighborhoods, to get these individuals, right, to to not progress and to not to elevate to the next level in life. They keep them dumb, deaf, and blind, keep them fighting over drugs and alcohol after we pump and procreate drugs and alcohol and beef amongst them. This was going all around the world and United States. You understand where I'm coming from? Because they had to come up with a type of plan because they just knocked off the Black Panther. They just knocked off Martin Luther King. They just knocked off a lot of other people. It was prime real estate that would hit with a lot of things that suffer from the civil rights movement. You had to knock this thing off. And I'm talking about from a spiritual point of view. From a spiritual point of view. And these things are still going on, but in a modern day terminology as we see it is modern day now, which is being placed by the digital world. This is why I came up with topics to talk about the digital world. How the digital world is what? It's overshadowing the physical world. Actually, the physical world is overshadowing the ant world. It's overshadowing the bee world. It's overshadowing the termite world. It's overshadowing any other world that been here before it. And see, what happened is that individuals are harvesting these animals and insects and birds and bees. They harvesting in it because they know that the digital world is destroying their world. And once you get towards the digital world and once you get towards prime real estate, you are destroying the insect world, which been here way before you. And see, what happened is you go deeper and deeper and deeper into darkness. This is why I came up with this topic is because back in the early and 90s, prime real estate was at its all-time high if you had a vision, if you had a future thought and image of what's going to take place. And then a lot of those individuals that had vision and thought and future what's going to take place in the 2000s, they passed and writ it on and gave it to their ancestors. So their ancestors uphold their visions and thoughts. And they taught them. They taught them that, look, at this certain particular time, we're going to hit this prime real estate. We're going to hit it, but we got to plague these individuals blind and keep them dumb, deaf, and blind, which is totally crazy. It was just totally a strategy as we see it. It's really, really important that we study this at the end of the day. You know, and because why is it tell us about the future. It tell us about how individuals think, how individuals roll, and what can we do for a better understanding in life and where we need to get from. Now we are fighting magnetic. We are fighting over corner. We are fighting over sneakers and clothes. Killing us off every single day. It's killing us every single day. So this, right? So this is part one. I'm gonna do part two. All right, I'm gonna definitely do part two because people's calling me and messing up my life. I'm sorry about that. You know, certain people is blocking me. And I'm sorry because now I can't get in my live and talk about this prime real estate, which is really, really important, which is that it breaks down the understanding on where we need to be at and how this plotting and planning was in the beginning, from the beginning of us fighting over prime real estate. Once these drugs hit in 80s and 90s, it was crazy for us. It was really crazy for us, you know? And then we were perpetuating. You know, prime real estate was at its all-time highs in the 80s and 90s. It was. It was. It was. If you want to think of a drug era, prime real estate was at an all-time high. It was. If you want to think about real estate, the actual real estate, you know, property, buildings, all of these things which wasn't here and is here now, and you have vacant lots all over this place, all over America. All over America, it was prime real estate. So individuals that had a vision and had a thought and had a future understanding on how things was going to go in the 2000, that written it down for the for the descendants. They brought forth the path. They brought forth the understanding. They brought forth the vision, because nobody wasn't looking at it, for what it was. It was prime real estate. We got to plague this. We got to plague that. So this is not something that you never heard. You didn't hear before. You heard this all before. This is the same topic. This is the same thing, but in the modern day time, this is what's going on. So there's a lot of prime real estate. The prime real estate is your mind, it's your thought. You are the real estate. If I get these individuals to shoot and kill and to trap on the corner to be stagnated for sneakers and wearing Chinese food, I control him. I control her. They are my real estate. And I can move them on the board the way I want to. I want you to look at this from another point of view. From another point of view. Because are you your own prime real estate, or are you somebody else's prime real estate that can have you moving around the board in the pieces? These things we must look at. These things we must ask ourselves, is this true? The prime real estate was at its all-time high. If you go look around in the 80s and the 90s, after the Civil War, after the Civil Rights War, after all of these wars, the land was plagued with darkness upon darkness, hunger, fuel. It was crazy back then. So the only thing everybody could get to was drug and cocaine. At the time, it was dope. It was opium, was leading the force. And then cocaine came about. And then as you see all this stuff was, people monopolized on this. A lot of individuals knew how to move and how to shake and move and have motion, and knew that if I take this opportunity right here, I'm going to become rich by plaguing everyone that would want to partake in these drugs, in which was produced crack babies and dope babies and any other babies and stuff like that. That was structured at that time. The way this thing was crazy, man. Everything is to seek what? To seek prime real estate. To seek prime real estate. Yes. Now the prime real estate is you. The prime real estate is your thoughts. The prime real estate is what? It's how the Creator has his hand upon you. This is facts. This is part 2. I'm sorry because people was calling me so much. You're going to see this video. You're going to see the video keep stopping. Then I had to resume the video because these individuals keep calling me. And this is disrespectful. So now I got people on block, because what you're doing is blocking my message from getting out to my audience, which is really, really important for me. Yes, please like, share, subscribe to the dopest channel out right now on YouTube. This is all big facts. That's right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Please hit the notification bell. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Hit it, so you can know I'm dropping bangers and heat for you and I. This is part 1 to prime real estate. I'm about to do part 2 because I blocked the